I live off of $694 all in a month in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, from an $812 a month US pension. Think it's impossible? I'm here to show you that it's not. Hi, my name is Tammy. I'm from the States, Florida. I have since retired in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and I'm going to share with you the breakdown of my last month's expenses, and I'm going to share with you some of my personal tips that help me get my expenses low. So are you ready? Let's go. So most Americans are probably collecting a Social Security check anywhere between $800 to $1,200 per month. That's according to the US Social Security Department. That's average. Possibly if you're on the lucky end, you're at the $1,500 mark. I'm not personally collecting Social Security. I'm still too young. I'm 55. I'm actually collecting a pension. I'm one of the few that actually had a job where I worked 25 years ago, got grandfathered in to collect a pension at age 55, and that company no longer gives out pensions. So I was the last generation to collect it, and I'm so grateful. So yeah, that's where my money's coming from, of $812. But I'm able to save an average of $118 for savings and emergencies, or whatever I want to do with, every month, after all expenditures of $694. What? That's right. And you're probably thinking, what the hell is this attached? Why is there a microphone attached to a chopstick? Hey, we're living frugal out here. You gotta think outside the box. Okay, as I promised, I'm going to go over all my expenses for this past month, and I'm gonna let you know exactly what I spent here. Now, if you missed my last video, I'll put a little something up there. Just don't jump this video, but go to the next one and you'll see exactly what my apartment looks like, because I live 30 minutes outside the city center. That's what helps keep things cheap. Okay, anyway, my rent out here is $350 a month. Check. My food. Now, what do I do with food? Guess what? I only spend $35 on average a week at the grocery store, okay? A lot of people think that, in order to be frugal and to live cheap, you've got to, not go to the grocery stores and actually shop at the local markets, which you can, and that's no problem, but I prefer to go to the grocery store because most of the produce and everything is just as cheap in the grocery store as it is at the local market. So instead of me going to a local market, loading my bags, having to walk way the hell out somewhere to grab a tuk-tuk and then go home, I can just get picked up right at the front door at the grocery store. I know, I'm lazy, but I mean, it's the same deal, and besides, the food to me is cleaner. If you're out in Phnom Penh, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. The streets are dirty and gritty, and there's constant traffic, and there's a lot of dust and diesel that's just being kicked off the roads and into the produce stands that are just smack right on the side of the roads where all the traffic is. I don't really trust buying my produce or my meat right off the side of the road because of all the dirt and the diesel that's getting sprayed on it all day long. Who knows how long that food's been sitting out there with all that crap on it. And then you're gonna take it home. I mean, yeah, you can wash it, but then you're really taking a chance, and I don't need to get sick, okay? So I go to the grocery store. I go to a place called Lucky Supermarket at the Eon Mall, but they spell it A-E-O-N. They've got 3 of these malls around town. It's air conditioned, it's big. They have a huge selection. You can buy Western food and get really expensive, okay? Or you can go local food and get really cheap. And I prefer to go really cheap. So I can get all my meats, produce, little things that I need for 35 bucks a week. Not a bad deal. So what does that come out to? $140 a month for my grocery shopping. $140 a month. Do you know that back in Florida, I used to spend that in a week? A week. And I can spend that and live off of that for an entire month here in Phnom Penh. All right, now let's go to transportation, right? Well, if you know me and you've watched some of my stuff, I'm a big fan of the tuk-tuk. Okay, I love the open air, I love the ride. No, it's not air conditioned, but it's cheap. And when you're moving, you get all the air you want, okay? It's just when you're stopped in traffic, it can get a little hot and sticky. But when you're moving, you get that fresh air and it's fabulous. So, what do I average a week? I personally, because I'm living here, okay, I don't go out every single day like a tourist. If I need a ride somewhere, like I treat myself a couple times during the week just to get out of the place and play tourist for a little bit, right? So 3 days a week, I go out. And I spend an average of $3 on a tuk-tuk ride up and $3 back. That's roughly $6 a day times 3, that's $18 a week. That's $72 a month. That's all I'm spending on transportation. I don't have to worry about putting gas in that tuk-tuk. I don't have to worry about paying insurance for that tuk-tuk. I don't have to worry about maintenance for that tuk-tuk because it's all on them. All right, what about utilities? Oh, this is good. I've only spent, and honestly, I think that this was a little high, and I'll tell you why, but it was $45 last month on my electric bill. Now, I do not suffer, okay? You might think, oh, gee, she never runs her air conditioning. Yes, I do. I run my air conditioning anywhere, depends on how the air is coming through the apartment, but I'll close my windows because I start cooking around 5 or 6 o'clock at night. So, and I want to take a shower by then because I've been sweating all day. So what I'll do is I'll run my air conditioning starting about 5 to 6 o'clock p.m. all the way till when I wake up in the morning, which is about 9 in the morning. But the rest of the day, it's turned off. And all I do is open up all the windows in my back door, and I have a little fan. So if I'm at home, if I'm not out, even if I'm out, I leave the windows open. But when I'm home, I turn on my fan. And it was $45 a week. However, the landlady, when she showed me the bill, she said that one of those weeks on the bill was actually before I moved in when her cousin was here with her baby. And she stayed in this apartment for a week, and that was really part of her power bill that I was paying. I wasn't too happy about having to dish out some money for her cousin. She's like, are you okay paying that? And I was like, I was thinking in my head, not really, but I didn't want to like rock the boat because it was my first time paying her for the bills. And I thought, okay, I'll let it go and I'll give her the 45. So I imagine next month, since the bill is going to be strictly me, it should be even lower. It'll probably be down to $30 a month. I'll have to report and let you know. But anyway, as far as the water, like just running the laundry or, just using it for dishes or whatever, not drinking water, but just water, is $5 a month. $5 a month. I do not pay for trash or sewage. It's a straight $5 a month, okay? And the internet is free, so don't pay for internet either, okay? Now, entertainment. You're probably thinking, well, do you do anything? You sound like you're living super cheap. Do you do anything? Well, I am a big foodie, and I love coffee. So yes, I do go out and I explore different cafes and restaurants all over town, because I just want to try something new every time I go out. I am not a beer drinker, so I don't go to bars. I cannot tell you how much it costs to drink at a bar. I don't go to nightclubs. I don't smoke. So here's a disclaimer. If you are a beer drinker or whatever, if you are a smoker, then you better pad what I'm saying by at least another $100 to $150 a month per person, depending on how much you like to go out and how much you want to drink. I'm just saying, I'm thinking that's a good average. But for me, I don't do either one. So my entertainment is food and coffee. And there's millions of them out here. The food is outstanding. And so is the coffee. So my budget that I set for the entertainment, for the food and the coffee, is $6 for the entire meal, for the drink and the meal. And you're thinking, $6? That's middle ground, because I could ball out. I mean, you can spend as much as you want out here. If you want a Western meal and you want to go to a 5-star restaurant and spend like $50 a meal, it's here. If you want to go cheaper than $6, it's here too. You can go to the street food vendors and you can get something for a couple bucks, right? Fried food. I'm not into that. I'm trying to keep my health in check. That's another thing. So I go and I challenge myself, what can I get for $6 today? And when I go out the 3 days in the week, I spend only $6. I get a really killer meal for $6 every time. I have not been to one restaurant or coffee shop twice yet, because there's so many options. It's off the chain. I don't think even living here a year I would hit all of them. So if you're a big foodie like me, it's doable. So again, what is that? $6, 3 times a week, again, $18, $72 a month on entertainment. And if I want to go do something like walk along the river, walking along the riverfront is free. Plenty of parks out here that are beautiful, free. I look for the freebie stuff. You can go to the National Library for free, which is super cool. They even still have the old Dewey Decimal System. You remember that? Where you have to pull out the drawer and look through and get the number to actually go to the shelf and match for a book? this stuff is free and it's awesome. Anyway, that's my entertainment. Now my phone, I know I mentioned I have free internet. Well, let me just say this. Okay, I have what's called the Smart Plan, S-M-A-R-T. It's one of the major carriers out here for the phone. And you can go as low as $1.50 a week, yeah, for data, or you can pay by the month and go as high. Their highest plan is $10 a month. That's it. But what do you get for that? For $10 a month, you get 100 gigabytes of data. I kid you not, 100 gigabytes of data for $10 a month. Plus they give you 250 minutes free texting and 250 minutes of local phone calls if you really need to do that. Now for $5 a month, which is what I just got recently, they give you 40 gigabytes of data, and then they reduce the minutes and the texting. And you can go down $4 a month. They give you, I think, 25 gigabytes of data. So depending on what you think you're gonna need, you can change your data plan as much as you want. They have an app, a free app, you can do it, or you can go into any local smart cell phone store, and they're in the malls. Like when I go to the mall and go grocery shopping, I just go in there and I say, hey, yo, it's just easier for me. I give them the $5 or the $10. Last month I paid 10. This current month, which is not in this calculation, I paid 5. I said, here's the money, add it to my plan, boom, I'm done. Oh, and by the way, if you don't use all of the gigabytes, you stick with the same plan. If you don't change plans, then your data will transfer over to the next month. So let's say you had the 100 gigabytes and you only burned out 40. You had 60 left over and you put another 10 on it. Well, your 60 is gonna move over. Now you got 160 gigabytes of data. Hey, if you're enjoying this type of content and you'd like to support me and the channel, I now have a way for you to do it. Why don't you buy me a cup of coffee? Click the link below in the video description or scan the QR code. Either way, it works and it's much appreciated. Thank you. And now back to the video. Okay, so I gave you the breakdown of my monthly expenses, but I'm not gonna lie, there are struggles out here. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you what they are. I mean, number one, if you want to save money on your power bill, then you've got to turn it off during the day, which means you're going to sweat. So I personally don't mind sweating. To me, it's like getting the impurities out of your body once a day, and then you can always just turn on the AC later and take a cold shower. Which brings me to the next point. My apartment does not have hot water. A lot of you are probably thinking, what? Yeah, at first I was shocked too. When I moved in, I was trying to figure out how to turn on the hot water, and I asked my landlady and she's like, we don't have hot water, sorry. And she's like, you'll get used to it. And you know what? She's right. She's right. Because it averages anywhere from 90 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit out here, and it's like I said, when you're hot and sweaty, you want that cold shower, believe me. It's a shock at first to the system, like you're getting in a waterfall or a spring, but then after that, it just feels so good. And then when you step out of the shower, you're so like refreshed, you know, you feel really good. So yeah, that can be maybe a game changer, you know, because let's face it, I'm not paying $500 a month for luxury. If I wanted that, I could have went further into the city near the riverfront where all the high-rise condos are. You know, it exists. I could have got the hot water and the pool and the gym, but I chose not to do that. I don't need a gym. I don't need a pool. I just need a livable, nice place away from the tourists where things are cheaper and it's doable. And I don't mind a cold shower, so you get used to it. Well, another bummer that's out here and that I just found out recently is that their drainage system sucks. Okay? We're at the beginning of the rainy season, and we had an afternoon that just rained hard rain, okay? And all of these neighborhood streets out here backed up with water and created a river, literally. Like, there were kids swimming in the streets, jumping in like it was a pool, and swimming and playing in the streets. I happened to get caught in this. I will never do it again. I looked at my weather map and it said rain, but I didn't think anything of it, right? So I'm coming home at 5 o'clock in the tuk-tuk with my groceries. And the landlady texts me and she goes, "You may not want to come back right now because the streets are really bad. They're flooded." She goes, "You might want to just hang out where you're at for about 2 hours." And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to sit at the mall. I was at the mall for like 2 hours with my groceries thawing out, right? So I waited like half hour. I said, how bad could it be? So I got in a tuk-tuk. Halfway back home was fine because the rain stopped, the streets weren't flooded. So I said, what are you talking about? It's cool, right? And then I get into the neighborhood or close to it, and the guy could barely get into my street. He had to keep circling the neighborhood, circling. The traffic was horrible. It was backed up. It was so flooded. When he finally got to my street, he got halfway down near my back door, and I swear to God, water was starting to come up into the tuk-tuk right at ankle level. And I was like, whoa, dude, just stop, because I thought he was going to sink us, man. I said, just stop. My place is right here. I will walk over there. So I just rolled up my pants to my knee, right? Grabbed my bags, and literally the water was up to my knee. And I hiked it across the street to my back door to my apartment and got in. And I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. And that sucks that these people have to live like this. But when it's not raining, it's great. So if you don't mind getting your feet wet a little bit and living out where the locals do, that's a challenge. But on the positive side, well, one more negative challenge living out here is there is going to be some language barrier. I ain't gonna lie, okay? Some of them speak English, it depends. Like if you're in a kind of Western style restaurant, they understand enough what you're asking or saying. But most of the tuk-tuk drivers don't speak English. In fact, I think I've only had one, and I've had dozens that have driven me, one that barely spoke some good English. So, luckily, with the Grab app, which is what I recommend you use, I love the Grab app. There's no haggling. You don't have to worry about getting scammed about the price. You download it for free off the App Store. You hook up your credit card, or you could pay cash. And it's a set price, sort of like Uber, and then they just pick you up and then take you and drop you off, and there's no hassle, right? But here's the negative thing, besides them not speaking English. Some of the times, even though I give them the exact address and I plug it into the app, I end up getting dropped off at a whole nother location. So you have to be careful, because before you step out, you got to look around and be like, does this look like where I'm supposed to be? Like, I look on my Google picture of where I'm supposed to be, and if it don't look like it, I'm like, we're not at the right place. Oh, neighborhood sounds, right? People are getting home from work and school. Like, for instance, I wanted to go to a particular bank to go get some money out. I gave the guy the exact address. He takes me to a bank, but it's not the bank that I wanted to go to. It's not even close. He took me 10 minutes off the road map, and I was like, but he didn't charge me more. So I'm looking, and I'm like, this isn't the bank. So I was showing him, I said, no, I want this address. You know, I want to go here, bank. And he goes, bank? Like he's pointing here, bank? Bank here, bank here, bank. And smiling. And I was like, you know what the hell? He got me to a bank. So I went to the bank, and you know, lo and behold, and this bank was something I've never been to. It was called Sathwa or something. I'm gonna tell you what, 0 fees. I'm glad he dropped me off at the wrong bank. I used my Charles Schwab debit card in there, and it was 0 fees. Whereas the other bank, I wanted to go to Bread, B-R-E-D. That's supposedly good for tourists, but they charge you about a $5 fee to take your money out. This other bank doesn't. I think it's called Sathwa. S-A-T-H-W-A-H, something like that. I'm gonna go back there, okay? Noise challenges during the day too. I love it. But yeah, I mean, other than those challenges, the people are very friendly. I've really had no problems. Nobody's weird. I mean, they're gonna look at you because you're a foreigner. They're going to be curious, but they're friendly. The ones that do speak English are very friendly, very nice. The culture is vibrant, as you can hear and see, and the food is excellent. And hey, if you like sunny days like me being from Florida, getting sunshine almost all year round, Cambodia's the same thing with the sun and humidity. I feel like I'm in Florida, except it's got an Asian vibe. It's the same thing. Whew. Yeah, the heat. Anyway, yeah, I'm doing this video with no air conditioning, by the way. Can you see the sweat? I'm working it. Anyway, my tips to you, let's wrap this video up. Everybody says don't shop at the supermarket, shop at the local market. Well, I guess the choice is yours. I shop at the local I shop at the grocery store at the Lucky Market, but my tip is go ahead and just buy the local food. It's still cheap. You can still shop at the supermarket, okay? You don't have to sacrifice that much and still get good quality of food. Next tip I have for you basically is just use the Grab app, okay? Use the Grab app, hook up your credit card. That's what I do. I have a Chase Sapphire credit card that I hook up to it because I earn points, okay? You still earn points even though you're in Cambodia. So I hook it up, I earn points off of every tuk-tuk ride I get, and then at the end of the month, well, whatever the credit is, I apply it back to my credit card bill. It saves me, but I don't know, it's not big money, but it saves me maybe $10 a month, and hey, that's $10 more in my pocket. So that's a tip from me to you if you want to do that. Besides, you won't have to worry about being scammed or, having to haggle with the tuk-tuk drivers, because I've heard some stories, okay? I've heard some stories from people that were in my class when I came down here to try the teaching thing, and this one guy from the United States, I kid you not, this guy paid this tuk-tuk driver $15 for a ride in town. And he goes, well, I figured it was like New York. And I'm like, I said, dude, you could have got that ride for $3. Are you crazy? He goes, oh, no wonder he liked me. $50. That was probably tuk-tuk drivers' meals for the entire month that guy paid for on one ride. Good on the tuk-tuk driver, right? Another thing is, just another tip, rent outside, get outside of the expat hubs. Avoid BKK1. That's my biggest tip. Get away from that. There are good cheap rentals, like going past the Russian market, or even going way out west where I am, which is near the helicopter pad area, but I'm still a good 30-minute drive down to the river. And like I said, at the most, it cost me $3 for a ride down to the river. It's no big deal. I like it. I'm more in the local neighborhood, and it's just cheaper for me all the way around. And I got a great apartment. Okay, this apartment, $350 a month. I love it. It's super modern. It fits me perfect. And of course, learn some basic Khmer phrases. I only know 2 things in the Khmer language, which is the Cambodian language. I know how to say hello, and I know how to say thank you, and that's what I recommend you do. So, pardon my accent, but to say hello, and I usually say this to the tuk-tuk driver, I say, Suste. Suste means hello. And to say thank you, so when he drops you off, you can say thank you in English, and then you say it in their language. Akun. Akun means thank you. I may be saying it wrong. It might be a coin, I'm not sure. But I say suste for hello, and I say akun for thank you. And they appreciate that. So just learn the basics. And then of course, save whatever money you can and put it away in an emergency savings account, okay? Because you never know what's gonna pop up. Now, did I mention that I have health insurance? No, I don't. A lot of people would be negative on that, but my health is excellent, okay? I didn't even need it back in the States. Why? Because I take care of myself on the front end. I feed my body good quality, healthy foods and drinks to prevent any major illnesses. Now, is it always gonna work out that way? No. I can't tell you what healthcare costs out here because I have never been to the hospital, the clinic, or the pharmacy, other than buy contact solutions because I wear contacts. And that's cheap. It's like $5 for a giant bottle. But if that's something that's a concern for you, then you have to do your due diligence and check out how much it would cost to get healthcare insurance for your conditions. Again, I'm not a medical professional. I can't give you that kind of advice. I just know what works for me, and I don't have healthcare insurance. I just rather put the money into the good quality stuff up front and take care of my body by not drinking and smoking. So there you have it. I live in Phnom Penh on $694 a month by adopting a simple local lifestyle. Could you do it? Drop me a comment below and let me know. And hey, if you want to know how easy it is to get an apartment out here and sign a lease, then you don't want to miss this next video. Ciao!